Well, beautiful days like you see here remind us that spring is upon us. So are potential health hazards for our pets. And to make sure they stay safe and happy, we're happy to welcome back the host of Nat Geo Wild's Pet Talk, Dr. Courtney Campbell.
Well, thank you.
You know, you get out, you start thinking like, oh, I got to get that yard fertilized. It's a good time to do that, right, Shirley?
Yeah.
You know, you have 3 dogs.
Yeah,
you know?
3 dogs. Yeah.
That's not a good thing, though. You say we got to watch what we're doing with our yard.
Listen, the bottom line is people are outside. It's springtime, and people are thinking a lot about how do I get my plants to grow? How do I get my plants healthy? But what they may not be thinking about is, could some of those same things kill my pet? Could they be dangerous and deadly? I see here we do actually have an example of something that could be hazardous. This is fertilizer, and I think we've all been tempted by something that's delicious, but that delicious food item isn't usually poisonous. In this situation, this is delicious to a dog because it's blood or bone meal, but in it, we've got lots of potassium, nitrogen, of course, for the plants, and of course, there's iron in there. And so these can make a dog, if they eat this, and it's delicious because it's blood meal, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation. Some of these fertilizers actually have a big long word called organophosphate, which is an insecticide, and it could cause seizures. So just be careful. If you're out gardening and you see your dog or your cat eating some of this.
But even if you take, because I'll take Fred for a walk and he is smelling everything. Somebody could put this down, you not know it. It's not your yard. So what happens? They start having these seizures or vomiting.
What's the first thing we should do?
That's an excellent question. If you know for sure my pet has eaten some of this fertilizer, make a beeline to your vet. Because what they may do is induce vomiting, get out all that material, give charcoal, literally the oldest medicine in the world, charcoal. It binds everything up, and then something called a cathartic agent to send it through. Now, what if you're not around a vet? I mean, there's a lot of people. Call your vet, because there are some home remedies out there, including hydrogen peroxide, but I caution against that because I've seen some of my good friends, even veterinarians, give hydrogen peroxide to induce vomiting, and it doesn't go so well. So call your vet or head to your vet immediately if you suspect that.
And you know what's scary is that it says organic, so you think
I
it would
was
be
seeing
okay.
that.
Right.
But it's just natural stuff.
All right,
absolutely.
let's talk about these pesky fleas and ticks.
Well,
Fleas in particular.
well, the bottom line is you're not the only one that loves spring. Fleas love spring, ticks love spring, and they come out in abundance. So we know when it gets warm, fleas start rejoicing.
Do they live in grass?
That's where they live, shaded areas and grass. Now, here's something important. I want everybody to pay attention to this. This is so important. There is a huge difference between a dog who has fleas and a dog who has a flea allergy. So think about if you are allergic to bee stings, a bee stings you, you break out, red hives. Same thing in dogs. A flea jumps up from the grass, bites the dog, they start scratching. So they say to me, Doc, I don't see any fleas on my dog. Well, of course not, because your dog's so itchy, they remove them all, and so you think that there's no fleas. But a dog who has no flea allergy, they're crawling around, they don't care, no big deal. So it's so important to prevent your dog from having fleas. These are just 2 examples. There's a flea collar here. There's once a month spot-on treatment you just put it on once a month. It keeps them free of fleas, and that's the goal. You know, we haven't mentioned ticks, but I'd love to talk about that.
Yeah, because we didn't get them so much. We don't get them so much here, but back home,
east.
boy, out on the farm.
Oh my goodness!
And boy, they're happy ticks.
And I think everybody knows that. I mean, listen, I grew up in Connecticut, so we would play in the woods, come back, check our body for ticks, do the same thing for our pets. But I've actually heard of all kinds of weird techniques to remove ticks. From Vaseline to blow out a match. I think here are the 4 S's to removing a tick, okay?
Well, here's a tick right there.
Here's a tick crawling around. The gross. Remember now, I'm from Connecticut where Lyme disease was discovered. So 4 S's. Skin, steady, straight, and then save. And what I mean by skin is get close to the skin, steady, don't jerk it, just be steady pressure.
With your finger or tweezers?
Tweezers. Use tweezers. Boom. And straight back, and then save that tick because sometimes they can test it for Lyme disease or any of the other diseases that ticks have. No twisting.
No, the head in there, no.
Get out the mouth parts.
The mouth.
I got to give you a high five for that. That's genius. Absolutely. Get out the mouth parts. That's the key. Don't crush it either.
Oh, I like it when they get big and fat and you squish them.
Oh,
Christina. I'm going to have you over.
I do.
Oh, don't crush them.
This is the dark Christina I have to work with. Inside, we
The
try
tick
not to
killer.
let everybody
The
see.
tick killer.
But the number one thing is really try to get prevention, right?
Prevention is key, and I like the 1, 2, 3 approach. I had a Great Dane who, Trixie, covered in fleas. They couldn't get rid of them. They were using monthly flea prevention, and they utilized this 1, 2, 3 approach. No more fleas. Treat your pet once a month. House, laundry, all the bedding, vacuuming, and then, of course, the yard. And here we have 2 examples of an insect growth regulator, or IGR. You're obviously extremely
Yeah,
familiar because you're
right.
so into gardening.
Yeah.
These will kill those larvae and eggs that live in the grass. So you've got to treat
Right.
the pet, your house, and the yard. That's key.
Let's talk about heartworms.
Scary.
Heartworms,
Yeah.
I like to call heartworms the silent killer because by the time you notice your dog has heartworm disease, things are actually very serious. Now, by no means is it a death sentence, but they are serious. Who's the enemy here? Mosquitoes. They pick up heartworm from another dog who has it. They bite your dog. It travels to the heart because that's where the worms live. And think of a heart trying to beat, but it's full of worms. Now, they do look similar to this, okay?
But how do you know if your dog has those if you say they're silent?
Yeah.
A lot of dogs start out showing no signs. Get your dog tested once a year and keep them on monthly heartworm prevention. You don't have to worry about it.
What is
People say-
heartworm prevention? What do you give them?
Heartworm prevention is usually a pill. It's a chewable pill that tastes like liver. People say, Doc, we don't have mosquitoes in Los Angeles.
Right.
And I say, low risk doesn't mean no risk. Okay? All right.
Wonderful.